The rigid blueprint, drafted once a year and shoved in a drawer, represents a static view. Modern corporate strategy functions as an active, living system. At the top of this system is strategic management. This is the exclusive responsibility of upper management, tasked with setting the entity's overarching, long-term objectives and guiding the path to reach them. Strategic planning supports this by designing the machinery, the specific tactical steps required to hit those high-level targets. Linked together, these two disciplines create a continuous, 5-stage cybernetic feedback loop. This loop consists of 5 precise stages: drafting the mission, analyzing the situation, formulating the strategy, implementing the plans, and running strategic controls and feedback. This architecture is designed to constantly align a company's internal capabilities with the structural forces of the market. The circuit begins at stage 1, where the board of directors drafts the organization's mission statement. This loop establishes strategy as an ongoing process of aligning the organization with its market environment. At this first stage, companies must distinguish between the mission statement and the vision statement. They serve distinct functions. A mission statement concentrates on the present. It defines the current customers, outlines critical processes, and answers a specific question: what do we do and what makes us different? The vision statement focuses on the future. It acts as a source of inspiration, describing the desired state of the organization or the industry itself. It asks, where do we want to be? PepsiCo illustrates this distinction. Their mission is immediate: create more smiles with every sip and every bite. Their vision looks ahead: to be the global leader in beverages and convenient foods. Missions are most effective when stated in general terms. Hard-coding specific tactical objectives into a mission statement limits an entity's ability to pivot when the marketplace shifts. A broadly constructed mission statement provides the agility necessary to navigate an unpredictable environment. Once the mission is set, the system moves to stage 2, the situational analysis. This grid is a SWOT analysis, the primary diagnostic tool used to map the operating environment. The top half isolates the internal environment. By identifying strengths and weaknesses, a firm evaluates its capabilities to find its core competencies. Gaining a competitive advantage requires moving past standard core competencies. A firm must develop a distinctive competency, a strength unlike anything its competitors possess. The bottom half forces management to look outward. Opportunities and threats exist in the external environment, driven by factors like shifting demographics and competitor behavior. While SWOT identifies the existence of a threat, executives require a high-resolution tool to measure the mathematical forces behind those dangers. SWOT reveals where to look for dangers, but it does not measure the actual structural forces that determine profitability. To measure those forces, management turns to business theorist Michael E. Porter. Porter developed a structural model to evaluate whether high, long-term return on investment is achievable within a specific industry. This diagram illustrates Porter's 5 competitive forces, vectors determining an industry's attractiveness. Look at the tension between existing rivalry and new entrants. In industries with high fixed costs, competitors often resort to price cutting to maintain volume.
High entry barriers coupled with low exit barriers create favorable industry conditions, keeping new competitors out while allowing a quick retreat if performance drops. Then there is the threat of substitutes, products that serve the same purpose, like plastic versus metal. Substitutes establish a hard ceiling on price increases. If a firm raises prices too high, demand shifts to the alternative. Finally, we measure horizontal pressure from the supply chain, the bargaining power of buyers and suppliers. When purchasing power is concentrated in a few buyers, they can dictate terms and force prices down. Conversely, organized suppliers can restrict output and squeeze a firm's margins from the bottom up. Long-term industry profitability is a predictable state, dictated by these 5 macrostructural vectors. Using the data from SWOT and Porter, upper management enters stage 3, strategy formulation. The first move is choosing a competitive posture. This grid categorizes strategies based on whether a firm targets a broad or narrow scope and competes on cost or uniqueness. Broad scope through lower costs is cost leadership, minimizing expenses. Alternatively, focused differentiation concentrates on a narrow market, dominating it by providing a highly unique product. Failing to commit to a specific posture leaves a firm stuck in the middle, vulnerable to both low-cost operators and premium niche players. Large-scale corporate strategy treats the business as a portfolio of investments, known as Strategic Business Units, or SBUs. The BCG Growth Share Matrix provides the framework for allocating capital across those units. It plots market growth rate on the vertical axis against relative market share on the horizontal. Circle size is proportional to sales volume. In the top right are question marks, weak competitors in high-growth markets. They drain cash, requiring a build strategy or divestment. If share increases, it becomes a profitable star, requiring heavy cash injections for expansion. As growth slows, a star matures into a cash cow. Management applies a hold strategy, harvesting cash to fund other units. Over-harvesting by starving R&D pushes it into the bottom right quadrant. These dogs drain profitability and are liquidated. Corporate capital allocation is a ruthless life cycle, where today's star must be managed into tomorrow's cash cow to fund the next generation of the portfolio. Now we reach stage 4, implementation. Strategic formulation remains theoretical until executed by employees at every level of the chain of command. This requires operational alignment. Middle managers tie incentive systems and performance evaluations to the chosen strategies. If human resources and compensation plans are not engineered to reward these specific goals, the strategic architecture fails to produce results. This brings us to the final phase, stage 5, strategic controls and feedback. To ensure the plans are working, management establishes performance standards. They measure actual results against these benchmarks and report any variances. This incoming data acts as a critical trigger. If the performance is unsatisfactory, managers must step in and initiate immediate corrective action. The results of these corrections are sent back up the chain to senior leadership, completing the circuit. Over the long term, this loop forces the continual refinement of strategy, eventually informing the original mission itself.